This is a book review of The Business Book. This is quite a large hardcover book. It gives an excellent overview of the world of business history, of the main economic thinkers, business leaders from the last few centuries, and tells interesting stories about Rockefeller, about Warren Buffett, about Steve Jobs, about Henry Ford, and the wonderful companies that they were able to make and be a part of. So if you're looking for something which provides an overview, a broad map of the world of business over the last, say, 200 years, although there are quotes from Thomas Aquinas and even people before the 1200s, which might give you a context, a historical perspective on different companies, the main thought processes about efficient markets, about marketing, about maintaining profit margins in ever-changing environments, about technological innovation, disruption, and how one needs to constantly evolve in order to stay ahead of the game and to maintain market share or indeed grow a particular product or service. So this book is quite fun and quite engaging. There are lots of stories. It's well colour-coded with pictures and quotes throughout, which makes it quite an entertaining read. If you did want something more specific, so this book might not be particularly useful in the sense that it doesn't give specific advice to anyone who is possibly looking to start their own business. It perhaps just provides an overview from which principles can be derived, and one can look at common denominators of some of the most successful people in business, and they might be able to see traits and attributes of successful people. One of them, for example, is persistence and perseverance. People that have been successful in the past, especially if they're extremely successful, have almost been obsessed about a particular thing. And that definitely applies to three people whose books I would recommend. These are three excellent business books. They're some of my favourite books on the topic of business. This is a great book about Warren Buffett, written by Robert Hagstrom. It has sold over 1 million copies. This book contains biographical information about one of the greatest investors, Warren Buffett, of all time, his childhood, where he grew up, his early influences. Also details his philosophy, his investing style, and the principles of his investing philosophy, which are to find excellent value, companies that have strong intrinsic value, and wait until they are reasonably priced, and possibly even with a buffer zone, an error, a margin of error, so that one's always looking for value. And there are other attributes which you can find more about if you read this book. Steve Jobs, one of the founders of Apple, was famously fired in the mid-80s, and then later returned to the company in the late 90s and was responsible for the iPhone, the iPod, the iPad, and the incredible success of Apple. Very much a visionary leader, someone who loved technology. I think the real trick with Steve Jobs was his obsession with technology and gadgets, and wanting to design things which, in his own words, would put a dent in the universe. He had the expression of wanting to put a dent in the universe, and he famously said that the consumer doesn't really know what they want because they possibly haven't been provided with options and new things. And so at the time, the iPad, people were quite critical of it because it was a bit weird, it was a bit quaint in the sense that there was no keyboard, there were very few buttons on the iPads, but of course people loved it because it was simple to use, fast and fun, beautiful screen, and is one of the most successful technological products of the last 20 years. Only the Paranoid Survive is a wonderful book by Andrew Grove. I did make a video on this book, and I'll post the link in the description in case you want to learn anything more about it. Thanks for watching.